So that's right there in your manual, and we're just going to walk through it. On the top part, you have your overhead assessment, so you've checked off if they had any movement impairments. And now we're going to go on to the first part of the fitness assessment, which is the weight, which is pretty much straightforward. Stand on a scale, document how much they weigh. Then we're going to go to the measurements. If you look at the bottom of your chart, you'll see where the waist, the hips, and the thigh gives you the location. So for the first one, the waist, level the belly button. So Alex is going to lift the shirt up a little bit for me. You have your tape. Come around here. Level the belly button. I highly recommend you do this in front of a mirror so that the tape, sorry if that's cold, so that you can tell that that's nice and level, okay? The other thing I would recommend, you can bring that down, is that you get a anthropometric tape. They're like $25. They have a little spring-loaded thing at the end, so it allows you to be consistent with how much tension you put on it. For example, Alex, pull out your arm if you could. So if I went around here and to take his measurement, if I did it lightly, it's not too bad, but if I pull really hard, I'll take off a couple centimeters. So with that spring, you can rest. With that spring, you can actually be very consistent with how much tension you put on the tape. Highly recommend you do it. Okay, so the next area, waist area. We're not going to get to the thigh just yet. And what you're looking for is the biggest part of the back side. And once you find that, you can do inches or centimeters. I prefer centimeters. Pretty straightforward. Again, you come around, you're in front of a mirror. You're going to come around, find your landmark, take your measurement. And then the last one, the thigh. Okay, now if you could. So you're going to go from the top part of the patella, and you're going to measure up 10 inches. And you would take a marker or a pen, make a little mark. Okay? You're going to want to make that mark. I try to rely on just remembering that location, but that doesn't work out very well. I would just put a little mark there. Ask them if they mind if you can put a mark on them. I've never had anybody say that. Okay, so now we're going to come in here. You find that mark, same thing, come around, make your measurement, and document it. Okay, you're all set there. So that's how you do your tape measures. Next thing we're going to have Alex grab a seat, please. So for the blood pressure cuff, that's one of those skill things. You practice it a few times. If you know anybody that has the skill with it, a nurse or somebody who's taken blood pressures before, I would sit down with them and have them kind of go over with you a couple times. It's not too difficult. Come here. It says already right on, pretty much walks you through. So you're a couple inches above the fold of the elbow. Up here, boom. So what you want to do with your stethoscope, these things here, you want them pointed in towards your eyeballs, okay? Test it. Good, and then you're going to come in here over the brachial artery. I always like to have my clients hold that so I can see it. And then you're going to pump it up. I'm not going to go all the way up. You're going to pump it up. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends you go up to 220, give or take. And then once you hit that, you release it slowly. You're going to document the first sound you hear and the last sound you hear, and that's their blood pressure. Okay. All right, so here it is. Take this off. Blood pressure is all set. Get rid of some of these toys. All right, so we document that. O2 saturation. You can get one of these at your local pharmacy. Or what I did was I went shopping around, got prices, and then I went on Amazon, found the same one for about, this one on Amazon was about $25. The same one was at Rite Aid, I think was $78. So you can shop around, save yourself some money. Pretty simple. Finger goes in, push the button, you wait for the reading. The top number tells you how much oxygen saturation, so how much oxygen is in his tissues. And ideally you're looking for between 95 and 100 for someone who's in good shape like Alex. You know, you might not really sweat using this, but if you have a patient or a client that has COPD or emphysema, I would definitely document their O2 saturation. It also gives you the resting heart rate. Okay, so you're going to document both of those. Body fat percent, because we know Alex is really concerned with that. First thing you did is you took the weight. You can use a number of different techniques. I like to use a BIA. I do have Lang skin fold calipers. If you decide to use skin fold calipers, Lang is by far the best quality you can get. They're about $300. I use the BIA because one, it's easier to use. You can use it pretty much anywhere. Quite often women don't like being poked and prodded and pinched with the caliper, so this is a lot more convenient for them. For someone like Alex, I might use the Lane Skin Fold calipers. But the BIA is about $100 and just pretty straightforward. You hit the data button, height, Alex, how tall are you? 6'2". 6'2". What would you say? We weighed, we're going to tend to be weighed 185? Okay. Age?
27.
27. And you're male, I think. So he's a male, so we got that set. And then he would hold the edges, hold it out straight. Don't break my machine, please. You hit the start button, and then they'll come up with your body fat percent. Now, according to the research, these things are within 3% accuracy of underwater hydrostatic weighing, so they're pretty accurate. The key thing I would recommend with anything you do here, if you decide to use a different technique, is consistency. You always want to be consistent with whatever modality you use. Okay? Very good. All right, so now we're going to do, we're on the third part of your fitness form. So we did the weights and measurements. We did section 2, which is blood pressure, resting heart rate, O2 saturation, body fat. The third part is going to be the strength and endurance. So I broke it in. You have your upper body, lower body, and your core. So we're addressing every area of the body. So the first one on your test is a timed plank test. So Alex is going to come on down to the floor. He's going to just demonstrate your plank. So what you're looking for is that Alex has a nice straight line, shoulder, hip to ankles. You're looking for making sure there isn't any sagging in the core area. And once you get that, you start your timer. And what I do is I get right down on the floor and I'm watching throughout that whole kinetic chain to make sure there is no deviation. He's not sagging here. I also look at the shoulder blades to make sure there isn't any weaning going on. If you do see that weaning, you know he needs a good scapular stabilization program. If there's any sagging, you know that his intrinsic core, the muscles on the inside of his core, are fairly weak, or at least their endurance is low, and you need to develop a good core stabilization program. Okay, you can go ahead and relax. So not only are you doing a fitness assessment to see what shape he's in, but you're also looking to see if there's other types of exercises you should integrate into your optimal performance training program. Okay, so the next one. Push-up test, pretty simple. Alex isn't going to have to do 100 of these, but what we're going to do is you want about, according to the American College of Sports Medicine, you want about the distance from his chest to your hand, your fist, so you would be like this. I usually don't do that because I like to watch what's going on throughout his kinetic chain. I make something that's about 4 inches, and what I would do is I'd have his hands over that, stomach in tight, and he's just going to start. He's going to come down and touch. Good, come on, I mean, it's at your pace. So what I would be looking for is, again, looking throughout the kinetic chain, making sure his core is tight. You can rest. Looking at it, you can go and come on, there you go. And you can look at the shoulder blades to see if you're getting that weaning, and you want to make sure he's making good contact with the towel, because if he isn't, it doesn't count. Consistency. Okay, very good. All right, the last one, Alex is going to come over to the chair. He's going to do the 1-minute sit to stand test. He's going to have his hands up here, almost as if he's doing a front squat. And what he's going to do, I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. And what he's going to do is he's going to sit down and just barely touch his bottom to the chair. Now make sure that the chair is up against the wall. There's nothing worse than your client going to sit down and that chair moves. Okay, so the chair's up against the wall. He's going to squat down, touch his butt, and come on back up. And what we're looking for is to see how many Alex can do